We just had a big incident where he really thought that I had just not only drank alcohol, but that I had been doing some sort of drugs or something like.
How much was alcohol a part of your relationship in the first 4 years?
So the drinking would start around 4 or 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon and go through the weekend. Saturday morning, we'd get up and do mimosas. By noon, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I might have shifted to Yinglings. I mean, there was days where I would drink certainly 10, 12, 14 drinks throughout the whole day.
It was just a big wake-up call, and I woke up and Googled alcohol-free and found Victoria English, a podcast or a YouTube video from your program, Project 90, and I just called. I knew that that's what I needed to do.
Day by day as she was going through this, but she kept going. And so when 1 week turned to 2 weeks, turned to 1 month, turned to 2 months, and of course we weren't drinking together. We had stopped drinking together.
How were you feeling as you were increasingly alcohol-free with your health or with your mindset?
Just absolutely better in every single area of my life. Health-wise, relationship-wise, career-wise, family-wise. Every aspect of my life is better now.
What advice might you give to a couple where one partner feels that their drinking isn't that big of a deal, but the other partner is certainly convinced that it is a big deal?
Then I think that
I am James Swanwick, and today we're going to be talking about when one member of a couple stops drinking and the relationship dynamics that can happen, both really positive dynamics and potentially compromising dynamics, because we have a lot of husbands and wives and partners who have either one partner or both wanting to quit drinking, and obviously there are some relational issues that come up as a result of that. To join me today, we are joined by Shannon McLin, who is an appellate lawyer in Florida and stopped drinking with the Project 90 stop drinking process back in August of 2022. And joining Shannon today is her boyfriend of 7 years, Scott Lepper, who was with Shannon on the day that she stopped drinking, and certainly was with Shannon on the day that before she stopped drinking, which really triggered you going down the path of living an alcohol-free lifestyle. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to both of you for joining us here today.
All right, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Shannon, tell me a little bit about you. You stopped drinking in 2022, but just tell me about what you do professionally and what your drinking habits were like leading up to the moment where you actually chose to join Project 90 and live an alcohol-free lifestyle.
Sure. I'm an appellate lawyer in Florida. I have my own firm called Florida Appeals that I founded in 2019. And we have 5 appellate lawyers, including 2 former appellate judges, and we practice trial support and appeals all over Florida.
Amazing. So you're an underperformer. You're an underachiever. And what was your drinking like in the years leading up to when you stopped in 2022?
Growing up, alcohol was just always a part of my life. It was part of our family culture. It was part of, high school, growing up, going to college, sorority, fraternity parties. And so there was always an opportunity to drink, drink to celebrate, to drink if you're stressed, to drink if you're sad. And then as I grew in my career, just being a lawyer, being in a professional surroundings, there are so many opportunities where it's almost like pressing that you should be drinking because everybody else is drinking. And so that went along for a long time, but I started slowly developing into a situation where I was more of like a binge drinker. I would not drink at all during the week, busy doing things, but then when I would think, okay, I'm going to drink 2 or 3 drinks, then once I had the 3rd drink, then now I'm drinking 6 or 7 drinks. And then I would wake up the next morning and feel really guilty, and I'd feel a lot of shame that I just drank more than I wanted to. And then I would think, well, what did I say? Who did I get mad or whatever? And so then I started just not feeling good about myself in that aspect. So
A lot of drinking in the legal world, yes?
a lot, way too much. I think that there's a lot of pressure and stress, and it's just a drinking culture. And I'm hoping that we can change that.
And you raised 3 children who are all in their late 20s, early 30s now.
Yes.
You were saying earlier before we started this conversation that you felt some regret about mirroring poor drinking habits or drinking in front of your children growing up. Could you just tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I feel like that is my biggest regret now that I am a non-drinker, is just having that drinking culture be part of their life in their formative years. So I wish I had done it sooner.
So you and Scott have been together now 7 years. First of all, tell us what you do, Scott.
I own a media company and just specializes in digital media and video media. I'm also a realtor, and I really use those two together. I use my media company to advertise my real estate, so it goes really hand in hand.
Yeah, big drinking in the real estate world as well.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not the right person to ask because since I've been in real estate is after she went alcohol free. So when I'm around realtors, I don't drink with them.
Wow, amazing.
So I think there is drinking in real estate. I'm not part of it.
Amazing. So you guys have been together for 7 years. And how much was alcohol a part of your relationship in the first 4 years of your relationship?
It was a significant part, right? So we don't live together. We have separate homes. They're a couple miles apart in the villages. So on Friday is usually, we both work. So on Friday, usually around 4 o'clock, I would arrive over her place for the weekend, and she's got an amazing house in the villages, so usually I'd stay there for the weekend. And upon arrival at 4 o'clock, the Yinglings would start, or a lot of times we would do mimosas or wine. So the drinking would start around 4 or 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon and go through the weekend. Saturday morning, we'd get up and do mimosas, 1 bottle of Prosecco, 2 bottles of Prosecco. By noon, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I might have shifted to Yinglings. I mean, there was days where I can say, I would drink certainly 10, 12, 14 drinks throughout the whole day, starting 8:30 in the morning, going till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then do it again on Sunday, right? So that was really our weekends. But if you go to conventions or birthday parties or stuff like that, it was always, let's first get a drink, right? And start the event with having a drink in your hand and then start socializing with everybody. So it was certainly a remarkable part of our social life and doing that and hanging out with each other. It was significant.
Yeah. And was that a bonding exercise for you, Shannon, drinking with Scott at the time during those first 4 years of the relationship?
Yeah, I think that was just sort of part of my conditioning. That's what you do. That's what you do, and it's all like a celebration and an occasion, and it's sort of everything's an occasion. But yeah, we were pretty much drinking every time we were around each other.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too. It's almost like when we come together, it's like, let me get you a drink, and yeah, sure, and then we'd go on, and that's the way it'd play out the rest of the evening together, right?
At any time during those 4 years, did either of you have a conversation about your drinking, how it may have increased to be a problem, or were you kind of just like going through the motions of life?
I have a list on my notes app on my phone, our alcohol rules that he and I created together.
Tell me about the rules, Shannon.
Go ahead.
Drink a water before you drink. No drinking in between going from one bar to the next. There was like a list of about 7. I still have them on my phone.
Yeah.
Support your partner if they say they don't want to drink. Have a spacer. There were definite.
No drinking on Mondays and Tuesday. We could drink on a Wednesday night. That's like hump day, but not on Thursday. And
yeah,
so
we had a whole list. Yeah, and we would break them all the time.
We tried. We were trying to bring it down, right?
So August 21st, 2022, something significant happened in your relationship,
yes,
which has now brought us here to today, having this conversation. Shannon, what happened?
It was like a typical weekend where we started probably drinking mimosas at 8 or 9 in the morning and ended up on the golf cart drinking more just regular beers, ended up at a restaurant with a whole bunch of other people. And then on the way back in the golf carts, Scott didn't, he wasn't, as drunk as me, but we just had a big incident where he really thought that I had just not only drank alcohol, but that I had been doing some sort of drugs or something, like, because he looked at me, he said, "What are you on?" And he just looked at me like he just didn't trust me or didn't believe that this is what alcohol could do to me. And it was a real wake-up call. We, got in a big fight. I went home and then woke up by myself the next morning just knowing I have got to get alcohol out of my life.
Scott, what happened? What's your version of what happened that day?
Really spot on, right? Wake up normal day, run around the villages, mimosas in the morning, beautiful, celebrate life in Florida. We're on the golf cart, run in some friends, and everybody travels from restaurant to restaurant, things on golf carts. So drinking there's a little bit more looser, I would say. And we'd met some friends at a restaurant, and then we were going to go over to this new recreation center that just opened up and go check it out, right? On the way there is when this event happened where the alcohol got to Shannon a little bit more, and her behavior, and I literally thought she was secretly taking some type of a drug, right?
What was the behavior that you observed in her?
Just where when you're like talking to them, right? Like their personality kind of changes, right? And it's not the normal. It's not their normal. And when you're around somebody, they're normal. So that's not her normal, right? And I did say that to her. I said, "What are you on?" And I was serious because I thought for sure, even before I said that, I was thinking, her personality is really getting odd here, right? And I think maybe she's taken something, whatever, and didn't tell me about it, right?
But
now it's kicking in with the alcohol, and now she's at a different buzz than the traditional alcohol buzz. And I seriously thought that she had popped something.
Yeah.
And it was affecting her. And, and then
so
and
you guys
she hadn't, and there was the fallout right there.
So you guys had a fight. You both went back to your separate homes. And then the next day, Shannon, you woke up and you did something. And what was that thing that you did?
I just knew that I could not drink anymore because I had not done anything. I mean, I didn't do that. I just drank. Oops. That's what I thought is, I just drink. And so then it was like a light bulb that went off, like, just drinking, that's what that did to me. And I don't want to be like that. I don't want anybody to think, again, back to I don't want what other people are thinking, but I was just really shocked. And also that it got so bad that he thought that I was like hiding and having secrets from him. And it was just a big wake-up call. And I woke up and Googled alcohol-free and found Victoria English, a podcast or a YouTube video with her from your program, Project 90. And I just called. I knew that that's what I needed to do and that I wanted to do.
Yeah, so you called our organization, Alcohol Free Lifestyle, and you enrolled in our 90-day stop drinking program, which is called Project 90. And you did that all on your own. You didn't consult with Scott, right?
I don't think I even I don't think I even talked to him about it. I just said, "This is what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And when you did that, did you tell Scott that day, or did you hide it from him for a few days, or how did that come to be that he found out that you joined a stop drinking program?
I'm sure it was the next time I talked to him. I mean, we had gotten in a big fight, and of course, when I woke up the next morning, I didn't even I didn't know what the fight was about. I just knew that we got in a fight. So we would be like this cooling off period, but I'm sure the next time that we got together, I said, "Well, this is what I'm going to do."
Yeah, I agree with that. Usually when we would have these events between us, right, I would stay away. I'd go home, and we'd both give each other a little bit of the cold shoulder for a couple of days to bring it all down, right? And then one of us would reach out, and a couple of days later, we'd end up back over at her house and make up, and it'd go fine. And I would say is about then she probably out by the fireplace or whatever. You
Yeah.
said, hey, there's something I want to talk to you about. And then she kind of let me know that she had joined your program.
And what was your response to that?
I wasn't surprised. She's a very determined person. She doesn't need my permission. She doesn't need anybody's permission for things, right? She likes support, but on something big, and this is big, and she had already done it. I think she had already
Yeah.
paid it, and she was already in the program, applied to the program. So it was more like, all right, well, here's something new in our lives, a new part of a new chapter in our relationship, as well as a new chapter in my life, because I've never been around somebody that was that wasn't a drinker, that was completely alcohol free, especially my girlfriend who I drink with, and she's my number one. I don't really have another person that I drink with. I don't have buddies around me, and they all live in other places, right? So, but I also knew this could be positive too, right? Because we put these rules together time and time again, didn't work. So I supported her not drinking because I knew she felt she would be a better person not drinking, that she wanted to clean that up in her life. And I thought she needed to clean that up in her life, right? So I was very supportive, I think, from the beginning. I felt like I was very supportive from the beginning, and just said, all right, this is a new chapter, and let's see what this chapter has to offer, because new chapters offer really great things if you allow them.
You didn't start to think, oh, maybe I could join this 90-day stop drinking process too, or maybe I should stop drinking as well. That wasn't your thought at that time?
Never crossed my mind. She, I think, probably talked to me about it lightly, and she could see that I didn't feel like I needed to join a group, right? Not that I wasn't denying that I've been drinking too much for decades, right? So I'm aware of that. But it hit pretty quick, when she's already in the program, like, hey, you want to join? I was like, well, hold on. I don't know if I need that or not or whatever, but why don't you do it, and I'll support you, and, and off she went. She really didn't push me, because I think she knew, don't push him. And she started, and the polos started in our lives. She'd be walking around the house doing the polos, and I knew she was, talking to these people around the world that were all in your program, right? So I was watching this play out. I had a front row seat to the 90-day program. So I was there for all of it.
Yeah. So when Scott's referencing polos, he's referring to a video messaging app where our clients actually communicate with each other privately just to support one another. It's really fun and playful, and it's a very empowering part of the stop drinking process. So Shannon, tell me what happened during your 90 days of stopping drinking. What did you experience, and then what were the positive benefits that came out of that?
Well, it was great to have a support system that was going through this similar situation with me. But as far as Scott goes with the drinking, I was always the one out of the two of us that caused the events. He drank, but didn't. It wasn't real. His drinking didn't affect his life like my drinking was affecting my life, and so. I think that's sort of how it's evolved, is that by my not drinking, Scott has been able to just not drink, because he didn't have the thing in his mind thinking about drinking all the time, like
Yes.
where I was, that spinning in your mind. But he just drank because that was available and that was like the thing to do. But it wasn't for him personally, at least my observation wasn't that it didn't have a hold on him like it did on me.
Yeah, got it. What were the results of you stopping drinking through these 90 days?
It was definitely a struggle, and sort of a struggle that I had a hard time. I didn't want to share with other people, so I would share with him, and then having the other members of P90, it was really great to be able to share with them because they were going through a similar thing to me. And it was also something that I didn't have to let my peers or my other colleagues or other friends know about. It was just something that I did privately with that support system.
Yeah. And what did you experience inside of the group? Who were the type of people that you interacted with? What were some of the coaching
Just
you got?
really amazing. I loved the science of it. And each week there would be, maybe a different coach focusing on a different aspect, like your brain chemistry and endorphins and dopamine and what alcohol does and withholding it and how you need to create reps and then keep it out of your system, do other things where then it becomes more and more just natural, where then you don't think about it like you did before.
Yeah.
Ride the wave and then get past it.
Yeah. And how are you feeling as you were increasingly alcohol-free with your health or with your mindset?
Just absolutely better in every single area of my life, health-wise, relationship-wise, career-wise, family-wise. Every aspect of my life is better now.
And Scott, what did you observe in Shannon as she was going through these initial 90 days of stopping drinking?
Well, she had a challenge ahead of her, right? She had chosen this challenge, and but she was engaging. She's a very social person. She likes doing big things and taking on big challenges. So this was no surprise that this was another mountain that she had decided to climb, right? So I watched her kind of do this, and she totally stopped drinking, right? So I'd come over on Friday afternoon like we would. And, all right, well, Shannon, if she's still not drinking, don't be drinking. But then, so I'd support her and try not to drink in front of her. And I didn't find that hard for me, right? Number one, I wanted to support her. We kind of really have high levels of support for each other, right? We think we can conquer the world if together we pull our superpowers together, right? And so we kind of lean into that really strong. So when she did this, I was like, this is your moment here, right? So I was really supportive. The polos were pretty regular. She was always talking to these new people, and she was really excited about the program. She was really excited about the people. She told me about their different personalities and where they live, right? So all this was these little bit of a almost like a soap opera playing out, right? And she'd show me the phone, and she'd show me so I was kind of watching this, right? Well, you're not in it. It's a little overwhelming too, because I don't really like to be on the phone as much and I'm not that much on the video, so it was a little too much, and these people I didn't know, and I also thought there's going to be successful men here on there, and they're going to see her face on their phone, and they're alcohol free, and she's going alcohol free, and romances start this way, right? I'm like, Scott, this could be a threat, right? So I'm like, just stay calm, just give her the support, be tough on yourself, just stay, just stay in your ground, just be cool, and just support her, and see how this all plays out. So that was all on my mind a little bit too, right? Every time she'd say, "Hey, David," I'm like, "Uh-oh." There's a David now, right? So anyway, that's kind of how it played out, day by day as she was going through this. But she kept going. And so when 1 week turned to 2 weeks, turned to 1 month, turned to 2 months, and she was counting the days. So those days kept growing bigger and bigger. And of course, we weren't drinking together. We'd stopped drinking together, right? So that was slowly unwinding. That part of our lives together was slowly unwinding, and as it went on longer and longer, it was like, look, this might not ever come back into our lives, right? Gradually over time, there's more of a realization that you might not be drinking with your girl again, right? But at that same time that's happening, some good things are starting to happen in the lives too. Not the fallouts, not the events. I'm back at the gym. There's certain things that my drinking's come down now because I've lost my drinking buddy. But now I'm not drinking near as much. I mean, it really, really faded fast. And so there are certain victories that start filling the voids, right? And those are good things. If you're successful, driven, or an entrepreneur, you like the victories. So you can start thinking, hey, this isn't a bad trade, right? I might not get to drink wine with my girlfriend anymore. But hey, I just started this company and it's looking pretty good, right? So that's kind of how it played out, I think, over those 90 days where you're kind of the transition, if you will.
Yeah. And Shannon, you got to day 90 through our Project 90 program, and then you continued in our Beyond 90 program and just continued on choosing an alcohol-free lifestyle. And so where did you start to see the noteworthy shifts in your relationship with Scott post those first 90 days? And what were those shifts?
It was definitely a shift because we started thinking, well, what are we going to do now together? Because we just drank together. That was like what we did. That was our entertainment.
Mimosas and Kenny Chesney.
Yeah, mimosas and Kenny Chesney. But then we just drank Groovies and Kenny Chesney,
Yeah,
and we just the
Groovy was a
Groovies
game
really
changer.
helped.
Groovy is an alcohol-free
Yes.
drink, isn't it? It's like a 0% beer and wine. And
Comes
stuff.
in a glass bottle and got a pop
Yeah.
off top, and
So you guys
that was very early
started
on.
going and buying alcohol-free alternatives together.
Well, I researched Groovy, and they actually were doing an offering, and I became the early investor of Groovy, and so that also became like fun to follow Groovy and support Groovy and see what stores they were going to be in and how can we get them in Florida.
another victory, right?
And so yeah, it was like more
Like
of
another victory, another something to invest in.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and that became just something that we focused on, that we didn't have to just be drinking. And then we started doing we were like, we tell the Tammy story that one day we say, well, let's wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and drive to St. Pete to see the sunrise.
Which is 2 hours away.
Yeah. And so that never would have happened if we weren't drinking. And so
So how did you start to feel about your relationship with Scott as you increasingly were living alcohol-free?
it was even getting stronger, because before it was like, this is what we did. We just drank. And, and when you're drinking, the conversations you think they're so deep and important when you're influenced by alcohol, but really it just sort of was the same old stuff over and over again. Whereas now we don't have alcohol in our lives. We're just thinking bigger, talking about philosophically more significant things, and business and entrepreneurship, and just a totally different, deeper focus.
And when we were drinking, it's not like we were just sitting at the bar doing shots. Not that high level, just drinking, right? Going through our lives, talking about our companies and talking about our business. We were doing all those things, but drinking was all mixed, splashed all up in there, right? So we were still pushing. She was still running her law firm. She was doing all those things, but alcohol and mimosas and Yinglings were all served in there during our conversations as we went through the day, working on our, doing our things, right? So anyway, just wanted to kind of have a little clarity on that.
Yeah. And so when was there a shift for you, Scott, in terms of you starting to embrace an alcohol-free lifestyle, either cutting back or cutting out entirely?
It's kind of amazing. Look, I've been drinking really steadily since I was 17 years old, when 17-year-old boys can figure out how to get alcohol from the the local stores, right? I always knew I drank too much. It left some marks in my life, if you will, some really important moments where I overdrank and had some regrets, certainly. But I never, ever, ever considered that I would be to the level of drinking that I am right now, or the level of not drinking that I am right now, right?
And what is the level of not drinking you're at right now?
I probably drink one or two drinks, always usually mojitos, because I drink a lot of virgin mojitos now. I'll have really maybe 2 mojitos at once a month. I bet once a month's about right. And
Yeah.
and it's usually just on a kind of a more of a whim. It's not during a birthday party or a 4th of July weekend. It's none of that. In May, we have birthdays a week apart from each other. And this last year, mine was on Saturday, and the next week hers was on Saturday. Those 2 weekends went by, and we didn't drink. I mean, while I'm not a zero drinker, I'll have like 2 mojitos or something like that once a month. But it used to be 40 or 50 drinks every month, or more probably than that, right? So 2 a month from 50, 60 a month down to 2 a month.
That's a big drop.
That's a big drop. I can, even like last night at the restaurant, right? Knew we're just get virgin mojitos. That's exactly what we did. I didn't even look up at that bar last night until about an hour after we were there, and then you see the whole altar of the up there. I'm like, oh, that's what Shannon talks about, that James talks about, the altar of the alcohol up there. And like, it doesn't even cross my mind at this point to go up there and order a Jack and Coke. I don't even have to think about it. It's not like I'm even moderating. I am not actively moderating. It has just slowly transitioned to where it is now without me applying any strong willpower or too much effort. I can't imagine how I went from that to where I am right now. It's hard to believe it, and because like she was very intentful about it, I was just kind of standing close to her while she was going through it. And the effects of it in my life were amazing, remarkable, right? And
And it's been remarkable for your relationship, it sounds like. So Shannon's completely alcohol-free. You're mostly alcohol-free, it seems. So your relationship seems to be much stronger because of it, Shannon.
Yes. And also, I just think because our brains are so clear and we don't have the highs and lows and the ups and the downs. So he knows that when he is talking to me, he's getting me. He's not getting like an alcohol enhanced version of me or, personality change. And the same thing with, his personality didn't change like mine when he drank a lot or drank more, but it's just been so much just healthier overall, all around.
We have a lot of folks come to us as prospective clients, and they have a lot of fear around sharing their drinking with their partner. Now, certainly in this situation, you just took the decision on your own. You didn't consult Scott. You didn't need to. You were just like, I'm doing this. But then Scott was the beneficiary of that decision, and both of you have been the beneficiary of that decision. Yeah. Having said that, I've got a few questions here I'd just love to get both of your opinions on, if I may. What would you tell someone who's reached out to us, as in alcohol-free lifestyle, but is uncomfortable with their partner being on that initial consultation call with us? Do you have any views or feelings on that?
Well, in my situation, it didn't even cross my mind that I wanted Scott to be on the call too. I felt like it was my individual decision, and I sort of felt like I didn't need his input about it because I knew that I wanted to do that. And so me discussing the matter with him, and that, what if he said, no, I don't want you to do that? Then that would just be another fight. So I just did it on my own, and I commend you for being so understanding about it because I know that could potentially be really tough in other relationships if one party doesn't want the person to be alcohol-free, but then the struggling person really does. So that's got to be very tough.
What would you tell someone who wasn't being open and honest with their partner about the severity of their situation?
I would tell them that they don't really need to go into the details of how bad their alcohol situation was in the past. What's important is where is it from here going forward?
What advice might you give to a couple where one partner feels that their drinking isn't that big of a deal, but the other partner is certainly convinced that it is a big deal.
Then I think that the partner who doesn't think it's a big deal should not do the program, because it will be a big waste of time for them, because they have to decide in their heart, in their gut, that they want to do it for themselves. If they're just in there because their husband thinks they should be, they're not going to, they're just wasting their time and their money.
The thing is, once they make that decision, their partner is going to benefit immensely. The whole family is going to benefit from that decision. But yes, to your point, if someone's pushing you to do it and you're a reluctant participant, it's going to be ineffective.
Right, I think so.
Totally agree with
Yeah,
that.
it has to be in your own self. You have to do
Yeah.
it for yourself, not
Yeah.
really for another person. Or at least I think it would be less likely to be successful.
What were the benefits that you found sharing so candidly about your alcohol struggles and now your alcohol-free lifestyle, positive consequences with Scott?
I think it's just added another layer to our relationship of depth and experiences and learning. It's just been a real learning couple of years. We've just really learned so much about the brain and health and relationships and the alcohol industry and what it has done to society. It reminds me a lot of the cigarette industry from when in the 60s, when the cigarette companies just pretended everything was healthy, and they had a doctor in a white coat talking about how you should smoke cigarettes for your health. And I feel like that's what the alcohol industry does with all their marketing, and they put beautiful women in bikinis holding Bud Lights, and it's unfortunate that because then your brain just does think that. They think, oh, I want to look like that, so I'm going to do that.
Would you encourage someone who's considering joining Project 90 and stopping drinking to bring their partner with them for support? Or would you say, no, just do it by yourself, or is it a nuanced situation? Like, what do you think is the most impactful?
I think it was great to have the sounding board and the support, and also just so he would learn what I was going through, so he could understand some of my struggles. Like at the beginning of the relationship, we used to always go to a restaurant and sit at the bar and eat at the bar and drink and eat at the bar. And he really likes that because he's very social. And at the very beginning, it was hard for me to do that. I would go in and I would be like, well, can we just sit in a booth? And so that was a change for him. But I think that just having the support of your partner is really important.
Yeah. So just finally, as we wrap up here, couples goals, alcohol-free couples is the way to go. Is this the new lifestyle that we're promoting here? It's a mostly alcohol-free couple, isn't it?
Well, I consider that I'm alcohol-free to the level where alcohol doesn't have a hold on me, right? I don't need it. I don't think about it. I can walk right by any of the bars I used to go into, right? I don't even look at it, right? So I feel like I'm alcohol-free in the sense that it's not got a hold on me, right? I could take it like I could take a Dr. Pepper, right? I'm probably more addicted to Dr. Pepper at this point than I am alcohol. But yes, I do have a couple. But I do like the alcohol couple. Look, I think you need someone to go through this with, right? So as a support system, not just for the person that's trying to get through it, but for the supporting partner to convey and to step up when a supporting partner is supposed to be the supporting partner, right? So I think it's important to carry your weight within the couples, doing what you got to do for your other wonder twin. Like I said, we have this little wonder twin thing, right? Like you got to support them, they support you, so it's your turn to be in that role, and together you might both become completely alcohol free. But if you're a situation where I'll still have one or two once a month, I think that's a completely doable. It's been great for our relationship. I don't think she holds that against me or
Not
anything.
at
I don't
all.
think she thinks I'm a drinker. I don't consider myself a drinker anymore, right? I consider myself a
Alcohol light.
alcohol free,
Alcohol light.
yeah, extreme light, right? It's just like, and I could go to a bar by myself or whatever in the villages, and I do this. More often do I do this, and just drink virgin mojitos, 2 or 3 of them, and get right back on and go back to doing what I was doing. And when I go away after that, I'm like, that's a victory, dude. And then I get up in the morning and just start pounding doing what I have to do to get my companies ramped up. And I'm like, that was such a victory that I just sat there and drank virgin mojitos last night. I would not be up at 5:30 at the gym if I had to drink 3 regular mojitos. So it's a victory. And once you start putting those victories and recognizing those victories, that takes precedence over, hey, I want to have a beer because I just want to have a beer, right? So
Yeah.
I like the alcohol. I like what you're doing there. Yeah, let me know how I can support that.
Thank you. And Shannon, just finally, you must be appreciative to have such a supportive partner. Can you just talk to how important that
Yes.
has been?
Very much so. I feel so fortunate that I feel like from the very beginning, it's been, he's been on my team and has been a tremendous support system and help, and I really appreciate it.
Shannon, Scott, thank you very much for sharing your journey with us today. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, James.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been great.